And welcome back to the College Huddle, everybody. I am your host, Eric Boggs, and we are excited to bring on today a gentleman who's taking over one of our group of five school podcasts here on the College Huddle. We're going to be talking a little bit about Fresno State football, their last year in the Mountain West, getting prepped for the Pac 12 in 2026, and what the future holds for Beware of the Bulldogs podcast. Stay tuned. All right, guys, and I'm joined by Aaron from Beware of the Bulldogs podcast. Aaron, welcome to the College Huddle.
Thanks for having me, Eric. I appreciate it.
So let's start here. A lot of people are saying, wait a second, who's this Aaron guy? I don't recognize him with Beware of the Bulldogs podcast. Tell everybody who you are and what's going on with the very successful Fresno State podcast.
My name's Arun Atwal. I was I am a huge Fresno State fan, very active on social media. And Caleb Nail, the former host of Beware of Bulldogs, reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I need a host. Would you want to join me on the Beware of Bulldogs podcast?" And I was like, "Sure, I love that opportunity." And we discussed it. We met in person, and we really clicked really well. And then the day came that we were going to start, and Caleb just decided this podcast was a thing of the past for him. He was going to start a new chapter of his life. Asked me if I wanted to take over, and I had to discuss it with my wife and thought about it a couple of days because I've never done anything like this before, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to take with this. I'm going to take this over and run with it. So I'm excited to be here.
Fantastic, man. We're excited that you're keeping this podcast going, man. They have a very large audio following. I think you have over 500 subscribers on YouTube, and which is really good. And man, 5 years running for the podcast, you're going to keep it going, man. Keep that train rolling. So we're excited to have you on, and really the College Huddle provides a great opportunity for folks like yourself who want to get into this game because you have a well of knowledge to pull from folks from all different walks of life who do this for hobbies, for fun, some even for a career. And
Yeah.
I think that you're going to find the College Huddle is going to be very beneficial for yourself. So, that being said, give us a quick overview of where Fresno State is coming out of spring ball.
So we had a coaching change. So we have a relatively brand new staff. Coach Matt Entz brought in, I want to say six new coaches, retained four coaches from the previous staff. They wrapped up spring ball about a couple weeks ago. A lot of competition. We lost a lot of seniors, a lot of graduating players to the NFL and moving on in their careers. Uh, the biggest takeaway from spring ball is we are having a huge dynamic change in offensive philosophy, coming from the Tedford era, very spread option, very up tempo, go 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 offense, and now with Josh Davis coming from the University of South Dakota, it's very much a run first offense. He produced two 1,000-yard rushers last year, so this is a big philosophical change on the offensive side coming up for the Bulldogs.
Nice. Interesting. Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about your new head coach a little bit. So
Mm,
he comes over from USC where he spent one season, but this is a
one season.
yeah one season. So it's it's not like Matt Entz is a Trojan or anything.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I would say he definitely is a Dakota guy. Six successful seasons at North Dakota State where he won multiple national championships and played, I believe, three and won two of them. Was
right.
the coach of the year, three-time coach of the year, two-time FCS coach of the year. This isn't just some kind of run-of-the-mill. We're taking a flyer here.
Mhm.
This is a very successful guy. Now he hasn't done it at this level, but I would say he's at the right program to do it. Fresno State has produced some pretty big time winners over the years.
Yeah.
You got DeBoer down there in Alabama, who's kind of
Hmm.
a legend, I guess you could say, at Fresno from Fresno State. What is the feeling from the fan base about Matt Entz? Are they pretty excited about this guy?
I think initially, just because there was two divisions within the fan base. There was
Mm.
Tim Skipper camp, uh, interim coach, former Bulldog player, lives, breathes, blood, sweats Bulldog football, and then there was the other camp that was like, well, we need someone with more experience. Like Skipper's not ready yet at this time, and so initially fan base was divided, but I think majority of the fan base is on board now, just because they understand what kind of caliber coach Matt Entz is. I mean, you said it yourself. Played for 3 national championships at the FCS level, won 2 of them. From a very successful coaching tree, learning under Chris Kleiman, coach at Kansas State right now. He was the DC there for Chris Kleiman, took over, and then he Coach Entz himself says it. He interviewed for other jobs as well while he was at North Dakota State, but a lot of teams were saying you don't have that Division 1 experience yet. So that's why he made that jump to USC last year. Picked the brain of Lincoln Riley a little bit, got to learn the lay of the land here on the West Coast as well. And I think the Fresno State was just going to be the perfect opportunity for him.
Nice. Yeah, it does. It feels very much like a perfect opportunity for him. Now let's go back a little bit to what you said there about the fan base was a little divided.
Mm.
Your Tim Skipper, who was basically the interim coach for a couple seasons for you guys, went 14-7 in 2 years. Um, why why was there a move away from? Why was he never, you think in your mind, the administration giving him a fair shake to be the full time head coach?
Yeah. Um, Actually, Skipper was just the interim coach from last year. Tedford did coach 23, but he did step down before the bowl game, so Skipper took over for the bowl game, and then Tedford unretired right after spring practice, and then retired about 3 weeks before fall camp. So Skipper was in and out of that position a couple of times there, but I think he went 6-6 last year, and he did win the bowl game, so 7-6 overall. But the administration, I think, went in a different direction because we brought in a new athletic director from in Garrett Classy. Garrett Classy, I think, based on he's had 2 coaching hires now in 2 different sports. I think he very much values head coaching experience, and with Skipper not having the head coach experience, I think it kind of put him on the back end of the list in Garrett Classy's mind. He really wanted someone that had a proven track record of success, and I believe that ultimately he just thought Skipper wasn't ready at this time for sure.
Yeah, interesting. So is he no longer with the program at all? S-
Right
you
now, he
know,
is non-staff. Yeah, I think they decided to go separate ways. I don't think he's gotten a job yet. I think he's still out there on the market. I think he interviewed at Florida for a linebacker's job or something like that, but I'm not too sure what Skipper's up to right now.
Interesting. Okay. So this will be the last season that Fresno State plays in the Mountain West. You
Mhm.
guys, Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State. Am I missing one? Or is that
Utah
it?
State.
Utah State. I felt like there was
Mhm.
one more I was
Yeah,
missing.
there was one more there.
Are all going to go from the Mountain West to the Pac-12. So this is the last year in the Mountain West. Now, what are the expectations going into this season? Last year here, kind of want to go out on a high note. What are the expectations in this last year, the Mountain West? And then what was your feeling as a fan when the announcement came out that you guys would be going to the Pac-12?
So I think the fan base's expectations are high. I mean, typically Fresno State is competing for a Mountain West championship year in and year out, especially since the Tedford era. Um, I think a lot of fans built feel like this roster is built to compete in the Mountain West. We have a few holes that we need to fill, but I think Coach Ensign and his staff are definitely attacking that here in the spring transfer portal. And I think a top, 3-4 finish in the Mountain West will be a successful season for many fans in their eyes. And then jumping back into the Pac-12 conversation, I think this has been a long time coming. I think Fresno State has proven that year in and year out, it's one of the top G5 programs in terms of performance on the field, uh, fan base attendance, eyeballs on television. I think we have gotten close to, jumping into that New Year's Six party, just coming short a couple of years just because of late season losses, what have you. But I think the fan base here in the Central Valley is excited to be, recognized with this brand that carries a lot of weight, and, at least here on the West Coast for sure, and pretty much nationally as well.
Are you excited about it personally?
I am. I am very excited. I mean, I think just the jump in revenue we're gonna get, I mean, from this proposed TV deal is gonna be massive for our school just because we've competed nationally with such a low budget that this increase in revenue is gonna just, I think, help our program get to that next level where we wanna be.
Is there any concern on your part that this is going to affect the rivalry with San Jose State, the rivalry there in the Valley?
Mhm. I think some people are concerned about the loss of rivalry, but in my opinion, I think Boise, San Diego State are bigger rivals than San Jose State at this point. I don't think San Jose State competes at the level that we do, and I think that's a reason why they're getting left behind in the Mountain West.
Parting shots on the way out the door from the Mountain West, man.
Yeah.
Some rivalry talk. I love it. I love it. Excellent. Okay. So going in the last year at the Pac-12, then going into, or excuse me, last year at the Mountain West, then going in to the Pac-12 in 2026, and it feels like you guys and Boise, San Diego State, even are in a really good position to compete right away. We'll get
Mhm,
into the schedule a little bit where you guys are going to have a little bit of a Pac-12 preview this season, but
mhm,
it's got to feel like, you know what, we're here to prove to the big boys that we belong and that we should have a seat at the table.
mhm. Yeah. So when Garrett Classy was hired, he made it clear that we're not jumping into the Pac-12 just to be another Pac-12 school. We're here to win championships, and that's the goal year in and year out at this at our institution. And I believe that with this new rebuilt Pac-12, we don't have an eighth football team member yet. We're still waiting on that news, but I think with the schools that we are going to be competing with, there's no reason why we shouldn't be at the top of the league every year.
Yeah, it does feel that way. It feels like Boise State, you guys, maybe, depending on which Oregon State or Washington State team will
Yeah, the
show up
the
from
former
year to year.
Pac-2s, the former Pac-12 schools, those they're definitely gonna be here to compete as well. I think this league is just gonna give college football fans something to watch on, late night television, Pac-12 after dark. I hope it returns and people get excited to watch those games on the East Coast. So I think we're gonna be a lot of exposure for sure. I think this
Sure.
exposure is good. The exposure is gonna be worth the jump alone.
Now, let me ask you this. So, you said there's seven football members. You're still looking for the eighth,
Mhm.
but Gonzaga is going to play in everything but football in the
Correct.
Pac-12. So a lot of people might not know that the Zags are joining as well. So that's going to definitely help out the basketball footprint of the conference as well. Who would you like to see join as that eighth, maybe even ninth or tenth member, depending on some of the rumors you've heard and some of the talk that's going on?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest rumors that are out there are Tulane and Memphis are waiting to see what this media deal looks like before they even entertain jumping over. I think if we can get Tulane and Memphis, I think that automatically makes us that fifth best conference in this country. So ideally, adding those twos and then getting a footprint in Texas, whether it be Texas State or UTSA, I think that would round out probably 100% guarantee that we'd be the fifth strongest conference and at least get us a seat at the college football playoff, at least one, in my opinion.
Mm,
Because
okay.
if we're battling between us and the American, I think straight of schedule, if we land Memphis and Tulane and then either one of the Texas schools, I think hands down it will be the strongest fifth conference for sure.
Now let's hypothetically say the ACC falls apart and you've got Cal and
Mhm.
Stanford dangled out there. Do you think that there will be an opportunity for them to come back to the Pac-12 with their tails tucked between their legs and
I think
join
that's
this?
a dream scenario.
right?
I think that's best case scenario. I mean there's mumblings out there that Stanford and Cal are already not happy, but we are talking about college athletics, and there's the administration on the the educational side that Stanford and Cal kind of turn their noses up at being in the same league as a Fresno State or a Boise State. So there's those politics at play. But I think best case scenario is that they understand that, for them to compete on the West Coast and not take their Olympic sports to the East Coast every week, I think that we'd gladly take them back for sure.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fun little question here for you, Aaron. What's the V on the back of the helmet all about?
So that green V uh, was established by Pat Hill when Pat Hill came to Fresno State. The green V represents the Central Valley, which I mean, I don't think a lot of people know this, that the Central Valley produces about 80% of produce for the country. So
I
we
didn't
are
know that.
huge in agriculture, yeah. So the green V represents the valley and our agricultural beliefs here, and he used it as a recruiting tool that he's going to lock down the Central Valley. He doesn't want the top recruits leaving. He wants everyone to feel like this. We don't have pro teams. This is the Valley's team from Bakersfield all the way to Sacramento. This is a huge pocket of fans and alumni that just love this school and love Bulldog football.
Nice. Yeah, I always wondered because I'm like, green has nothing to do with your school colors or nothing. And
No.
there's this V on the back of the helmet. I'm like, I don't know what that means. And then of course I guess I could have Googled it, but I never did. But that's why you're on here, Aaron. You're like Google, man.
Yeah.
Just like chat Aaron instead of chat GPT. We'll just ask you
I
questions,
try my
right?
best. I try my best, man. I try to keep all this knowledge in here for, for purposeful reason like this.
There you go. Excellent. All right. So we talked about the new head coach. Let's talk about the schedule here a little bit. I'm going to pull that up for everybody so that they can get a good look at it here. So this is the schedule for Fresno State here in 2025. You start off at Kansas on the road. Now, hats off to you guys. Every single year, Fresno State goes on the road to take on a Power Four program. Every year, it never it's like sign them up. Sometimes they'll take on two,
Mhm.
and you know what? Sometimes you guys go out and you win that game. I remember you came to West Lafayette and you put a
Sure
whooping on
did.
Purdue. You know, so
Yeah.
I think you've played you had Michigan on the ropes, and as a Buckeye fan, I was pulling for you guys big time in that game. Um,
Mikey Keene was just practicing throwing to Michigan players at that game for some reason. I don't know why.
right, yeah, that last
No
interception when
offense,
he
Mikey.
jumped
No
that
offense,
route.
Mikey.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Will Johnson's a hell of a player, but yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm not going to give him too much credit. So you guys get to go out there to Kansas and you take on the Jayhawks. Now this is not your mom and dad's Kansas football program here. They've been pretty good now the last 3 or 4 years. This is not going to be an easy game, but this is one of those games where Fresno State very easily could go out there and knock them off. Like I would
Mhm.
not be shocked in that at all. Any feelings on this opening game and speak to the fact that you guys kind of just you're not afraid to go into the big stadiums, take on big programs.
Yeah, I mean, that's just been our mantra for a long time since Pat Hill has been here. We're gonna go in and we're gonna compete with the big boys. And, we have knocked down plenty of Power Four schools in our history. And uh uh Lance Leipold at Kansas is, I believe, one of the best coaches in this country. What he's done there and turned that program into right now is just remarkable. And that quarterback that they have returning in Jalen Daniels is a dynamic athlete. Fresno State has a history of just struggling against the dual threat quarterback. I have yet to see us stop one in my life, but uh, I do feel confident that we can go in there week 0 in their freshly renovated stadium and knock them down.
Uh, you come back home and take on Georgia Southern in what will be a group of five showdown there. That'll be interesting, but I'll give the nod to Fresno State there. Georgia Southern is not a terrible program, but I think you guys got a leg up in that one. And then I mentioned it earlier. You get a little bit of a Pac-12 preview. You go on the road. You take on Oregon State in their house. Any thoughts about this football game?
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. I mean, Research Stadium is just a tough environment to play in. They landed a huge transfer portal pickup at the quarterback position in Malik Murphy from Duke, former Texas quarterback as well. And yeah, I think that's gonna be a physical, hard nosed fought game, and I'm excited to get up there and check it out for sure.
Oh, nice. Yeah, definitely. Never been to the state of Oregon. It was on my bucket list. I should have gone this past year. I didn't get the chance to. I had tickets to go when Ohio State was going to go take on Oregon in 2020, and of course, a little thing called
Mhm.
COVID happened, so I didn't get a chance to do that. But it's on my bucket list to go check out the state of Oregon. Now, you finish off the non-con against HBC Southern
Mhm.
at home, and then you start the Mountain West. You're at Hawaii. I gotta ask this: going on the road at Hawaii, that's got to be like the greatest road trip in the history of road trips for any school, right? Come
I
on.
think so. I think for the fans. I think for the fans. I think for the players, it usually tends to be a lot. It's a quick turnaround, the time change. I mean, a lot of teams struggle when they go out there to the islands for sure. I mean, if you remember, I think it was last year, Vanderbilt went out there and Hawaii almost took them down. And every time we go down to Hawaii, it's just a tough game. Our 2021 season when Kalen DeBoer was our head coach and Jake Haener was quarterback. We were undefeated and, we lost at the island just because of that travel time. So it's always a tough game when we go down to Hawaii.
Yeah, it seems like it would be tough maybe for the players, not so tough for the fans. I think
No,
that would
it's a great
be.
road trip for the fans. Great weekender for the fans for sure.
Last year we were joking when we were doing our Big Ten previews because UCLA, they went to Hawaii just like at the beginning of their
Mhm.
season. I go, this is UCLA's bowl game. They already know they're not going to a bowl game. They're going to go to Hawaii to start the season off so they can have a bowl game. At least they gave their fans a good trip, right? Then you
Mhm.
get Nevada. You're at Colorado State versus San Diego State at Boise State. Now you just mentioned that you've used San Diego State and Boise State as your main rivals there. Um, at Boise State on the blue turf. That's got to feel weird, man. Like every time it comes up on television, and now
Mhm.
there's several schools now that have colored turf. I think
Yeah.
you've got is it Coastal
Eastern
Carolina's got
Washington.
teal,
Oh yeah, they
Washington,
got
yeah,
teal. Eastern
yeah,
Washington's got a red field, so
yeah,
it's a
Eastern
very
Washington.
strange sight.
Have you seen I think it's Eastern Michigan. It's gray.
Oh yeah, they have a
It
gray field.
is.
That's right.
Oh, it is
That's
odd, man.
that's bananas. Yeah, that's nuts
Now,
to
as an
watch on
Ohio State
television.
fan, I'd be like, huh, that's kind of interesting. But when you watch it on TV, it's like your eyes can't adjust because you think you're watching black and white. It's really weird. But yeah, so it's not unique anymore. But they're the OG of the colored turf. Is there a huge home field advantage for Boise State?
Oh, 100%. I have been to that stadium a couple of times now, and when they wear those all blue jerseys, it's definitely a home field advantage for sure. It's just it's just an interesting sightline to look at when you're looking at it from the crowd. It's just you don't think that it's real. It's just I can't explain it. It's just I think it's an unfair advantage for sure.
Nice. Okay. And then you finish off the schedule here. Let's run through that real fast. Taking on the Cowboys of Wyoming, who might have the ugliest
Mhm.
colors of any school out there in yellow
That
and
color
brown.
scheme is just rough. I just don't understand how they pick those colors, but that color scheme is rough for sure.
Hey, listen, I'm from Ohio where the Cleveland Browns are a thing, right? Orange and brown. And I'm not a
Yeah,
Browns fan, but, I see a lot of brown these days. And then, you look at Wyoming and you're like, why? What were you thinking? Versus
yeah.
Utah State, that'll be senior night. And then you finish off on the road battling San Jose State for the last time in the Mountain West. Um, so looking at this schedule, who do you think is the team to beat this year in the conference?
It's gonna be Boise. Is they're the reigning champs. They're the, playoff hopefuls year in and year out. So I think Boise State, that game is always the one that, matters the most in the eyes of Bulldogs fans for sure.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting. Very good, man. All right. So let's go back to, I want to circle back to the coaching situation here because You
Yeah.
know, you had Caleb DeBoer. When you see
Mhm.
someone like that go to Washington and then he gets plucked from Washington and goes to Alabama, which some might argue is the greatest coaching position in all of college football.
Mhm.
As a fan, do you take pride in that, or is there a little bit of like, gosh, I suck. It sucks how they come in and they pull away guys from us.
Yeah. So me personally, I think of it as a good thing. I do take pride in that. It shows coaches, up and coming coaches, FCS coaches, D2 coaches, where Kalen DeBoer came from. Hey, you can come to Fresno State, produce championship winning teams, and get picked up by, I mean, the Power Two conferences. I'm going to call them the Power Two conferences at this point, but you can get a Power Two, Power Four job, and in the eyes of a lot of Fresno State fans, they don't like it. They like loyalty.
Sure.
But in today's world of college athletics, you just got to understand. I don't view it as a stepping stone. View it as a coaching producing program. I mean, every coach wants to compete at the top. We're currently not at the top, but hey, we what it takes to get there is consistency. Look at what Boise State has built. They've built consistency, and they have a national representation, national uh, representation of, like, they are the predominant G5 school. There's nothing wrong with that. They have coaches that come and leave as well. So I personally view it as, a good thing that we can have a point to a coach at Kalen DeBoer that's at the arguably the top position in college football.
So that being said, what is the best outcome for Fresno State and Matt Entz in his stint at Fresno State? Like if you could put like here would be the perfect scenario for him, timetable, etc.
Yeah.
What does a great career at Fresno State look like for Coach Entz?
I mean, if you want to ask best case scenario, he's here 4 to 5 years. In those 4 to 5 years, 3 to 4 10+ win seasons, couple conference championships, and maybe look at a playoff berth there before he gets plucked by a big Power Two school program or something like that.
It's
I
not
think
out
that's
of the
best case scenario in my
Yeah,
eyes.
it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Now, you would
Mhm.
look at some group of five schools and you would be like, I don't think that's, going to happen. But,
Yeah.
Fresno State's got the reputation nationally. They have the
Mhm.
recruiting base. They're in the right location to pull from guys. You've got the transfer portal now these days where you can turn things around quickly. And I know Fresno State's been hitting the portal a little bit. I saw that. And, the portal at a school like yours, the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. I mean, that's part of
Yeah.
it's a two-edged sword. But there's a coaching change, there's going to be a little bit of that portaling that's going on. Um, is it going to take him a season before you feel like you can put those expectations on him, or are you there already, or is it going to take 2 seasons? Like, what's the time frame here for him?
I think it'll take a season before his culture is established and the team that he wants is built to what he likes. I think him and his staff have done a great job of attracting guys that they believe in and they can build around. A weak link of this team, I believe, is the offensive line. And when we have this run dominant offense, we got to fix that quickly. And I think they've tried to do that the best they can. And then now, with Mikey Keene, a 2 year starter, headed over to Michigan, so we do have a quarterback competition, and bringing two portal quarterbacks in from as EA Warner, Kurt Warner's son, and then we just went up to Sac State and got their starter from last year in Carson Conklin. So we have the quality depth to compete in this conference for sure. Um, but I think what year one is just definitely going to be that culture setting year for Coach Entz, and then I think year two is the year that we really want to look at as, like, okay, Coach Entz's culture has been implemented. Now he's ready to rock and roll and build upon that foundation that's made him such a successful coach from his North Dakota states forward.
Give me a floor and a ceiling when you look at this schedule for Matt Entz in this first year. What's the absolute floor, and then what would be the absolute ceiling for him?
So in my opinion, I think the floor of this team should not be worse than 6-6. I think this could easily be a 6-6 team. We didn't we lost some key players, but not too many where we can't just. I mean, we went 6-6 last year, so there's no reason I believe, in my opinion, that this team, with the schedule that we have, should be below 6-6. And then I think the ceiling of this team could be a 10-2 team. I think the toughest two games on our schedule, toughest three games are going to be that Kansas game, that Oregon State game, and that Boise State game for sure.
Yeah, if you win one of those, if you win one of those three, which one would you want to win? Which the one you want the most?
Mine's always going to be Boise. I have a deep rooted, let's just say, hate for that team on the blue turf. So it's always going to be Boise for that answer. And then playing San Diego State and Boise State back to back, that's going to be a tough, back to back
Yeah,
situation on the road. I think no, actually San Diego State's at home, but then traveling to Boise, that's going to be a tough part of the schedule. That little section of Colorado State, San Diego State, and Boise State.
yeah, I feel you. I knew that was going to be your answer, but I'll say this: like, I think it would be really fun for you guys to go up there to Oregon State and get the W and kind of give them a little
Oh,
preview of what's coming their way in a year. I think that would be
oh yeah,
fun.
100%. Yeah, they actually came down to Valley Children's Stadium in 2022, I want to believe say. Yeah, and they won on a last second touchdown, so we definitely need some revenge for that game for sure.
Perfect. Awesome. Aaron, tell everybody where they can find you. Maybe they're a Fresno State fan, maybe they're not, and they think, you know what, this guy's pretty cool. I'm going to follow him. Where can they catch your stuff at, and where can they follow you at?
Yeah, so on X, the podcast handle is gonna be Beware_Bulldogs, and my personal handle is AA_024, and on Instagram, it's Beware of Bulldogs Podcast. So come
Excellent.
on and follow, give me a follow, and check it out. We're gonna be trying to producing content every week, so just come give us a chance.
We'll put a link down in the show notes as well for all of you, so you guys can go check out the YouTube channel. I assume Aaron, you're taking over the YouTube channel as well from them. Yep.
Yes, yes. I'll be taking over the YouTube channel as well. We're working on getting the audio or the video component to the podcast, but we'll hope to have that soon for sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, Aaron. We're looking forward to following the Bulldogs in 2025 and on their way out of the Mountain West and heading out to the Pac-12. This should be a lot of fun. We'll bring you on. We'll bring you on again. Who knows? Maybe we'll be doing some college football playoff previewing with you. And you never
I hope
know.
so, man. That'd be a great season for us for sure.
All right. Now I got one more question. Is there any
Yeah.
saying you guys have as Fresno State fans? Is there like a
Go dogs.
Go Dogs.
Yeah.
That sounds like them folks from Athens, Georgia. Go. Theirs is got a little bit twang to it though,
A
Aaron.
little
It's Go
southern twang to it
Dogs.
for sure. Go dogs. Yeah. No, yeah, you
Uh,
see a Fresno State fan, it's just go dogs, and we know what you're talking about for sure.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Aaron. Have a great season. Go Dogs, everybody.